Welcome to part 2 of CV Gate tutorial. We covered the basics before, and in this one we are looking in depth to gates, modulation, accents, threshold and clock. With these two tutorials you'll be a master of CV Gate. Let's dive in. We now have an acid patch which will benefit from some modulation at the timbre CV on choral, add a few accents for more acid sparks, and our reverb on meta more alive. Let's start with choral timbre modulation. I'm going to send CV out 5 as mod using a mod lane from sequencer 4, so let's turn on the corresponding pads as we did before. Now I select from the list mod lane 1 and go to sequencer 4 mod lanes. I'm going to use the first one, as we said back in CV Gate, to add modulation on our voice. We can do this manually with the encoder, or make it much more dynamic by slowing the time division and add a random curve with shift plus random. Or draw it by hand to affect our acid line. Nice and easy. Now back to our CV Gate mode, and let's turn on Gate Out 2 on sequencer 1 and set it as an accent on the control signal by pressing the corresponding pad on the third row. The accent will go into choral amp input to add accents on the acid engine, just like a 303 wall. On the settings, we set the threshold value relative to the velocity, for it to keep the gate high when the threshold is reached. As you can hear, when the velocity reaches the defined value, it sends the gate adding that accent effect on the note like a real acid machine. And lastly, we'll use the threshold. When the value of our designated modulation lane reaches the threshold value, a trigger is sent. This will send the gate to the meta effects CV, which will make the effect sweat parameter increase for the time the gate is on, as you'll hear. We are going to use our mod lane 1 from sequencer 4 for this. We turn on Gate Out 3 on sequencer 4 and set the corresponding pad to threshold by pressing the last row of the control signal on the gate side. Let's hear it. Like accent, every time the threshold value is met, it will send a gate that increases the amount of wet of the meta effect scene. And just like this, we got a fun patch going, everything connected and controlled from the OXI ONE. I want to clock my bucla easel with a slower time division. Using Gate Out 1 as clock, I want to send a different time division clock than the main OXI ONE clock out. Activate the first pad for Gate Out 1 on sequencer 1 row, and the corresponding pad on the second row of control signals to send clock. Here we can define the time division. We want a slower one to sync our easel pulsar to the defined division. Now we are in sync as we wanted. Pretty easy, right? If you've enjoyed this video so far, please give us a like and subscribe. It does motivate us to keep doing these videos. So we're going to patch the gate from the OXI pipe to different modules, starting with Gate 1, which goes to trigger 1 of the sample drum. Then Gate 2 to trigger 2 of the sample drum. Gate 3 to trigger pick, which is going to play the hat. Gate 4 to the first tom of T networks. Gate 5 to another tom. Gate 6 to the third tom of T networks. Gate 7 is connected to the trigger input of choral. CV1 is connected to the pitch input of choral. And CV4 is modulating the slot 2 of the sample drum. And this is as simple as Gate 1, sequencer 4, track 1, which is going to be the kick drum. Track 2 is going to be the snare. Track 3 is going to be the hi-hat. Track 4 is going to be tom 1. Track 5, tom 2. Track 6, tom 3. And lastly, the gate 7 is going to be the gate of sequencer 1. Now let's configure the CV1, which is going to be the pitch of sequencer 1. And don't forget the 4CV, which is going to be assigned to sequencer 4, track 2, which is going to modulate the pitch of the clap. If you want to sequence chords and polyphonic melodies on your modular system, using the voice pitch allocation is very easy, straightforward and flexible as it gets, because you can select the number of voices you want to output. This is the amount of voices available that you can route to the CV and gate. When working polyphonically, how the available CV and gates are assigned to the played notes depends on the CV and gate voice allocation. They can be last recently used, LRU, or unison. Now you'll be mastering CV gates. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching and see you soon.